Holy crap. I have not been this hyped for a release of a Muse song. I think perhaps since I was there for my first ever release. I actually remember when I first became a really hardcore fan was right after the release of Drones. And I had to wait a few years for the actual next new release to be a part of. And the first song that came out was Dig Down. And that is one of the most disappointing Muse songs I have ever heard. Since then, we've got Simulation Theory, and then Will of the People. And there were a couple of songs during Will of the People's run, like Won't Stand Down, Kill or Be Killed, that I was really hyped for. But then afterwards, I fell down a little bit with my love for Muse. And then you guys were demanding that I react to the live version of this song that was already performed somewhere. I was like, what are you talking about? What is this song Unravelling? I didn't even know it was a Muse song. People just kept saying, react to Unravelling. But you can see in my channel, I've already reacted to that live version. So if you want to see my first reaction to all the different parts of this song, please click down to that video first, and then maybe come back over here. But the big thing I'm looking for here is for it to not be too overproduced, to really translate that heaviness that we hear in that live version. But when I left that reaction, I was pretty hyped for the song. But every single time I thought about the song, it just ticked something in my head. And I would have to go back and listen to it again. So I'd go and listen to the live version again. And every time that chorus was just magnetic. Something about it makes you think of everything classic about Muse, from Fury to all the best songs off Black Holes and Revelations. And then you have some of the heaviest stuff they've ever done. And even those verses that, as you've all mentioned and I mentioned in my review, sounded a bit of sleep tokeny. It has such a Muse flair to it that the different chord progressions and arpeggio sounds all make it still really interesting to listen to, because I'm not a huge Sleep Token fan. But what I'm really just hoping for, like I said, is that this live version and the heaviness there, the tone that he was using, which was brutal and sick, translates to this studio version. Isn't too overproduced, isn't too clean, but all we can do is watch to find out. So again, check my reaction to the live version down in the description below. But first, let's do this. I've not struggled so hard to not listen to something on the YouTube channel in years. Every day I was on the bus, I was like, oh, I just want to listen to the live version one more time. And I would have to stop myself because I was like, I don't want to spoil being too obsessed with the song and knowing every little change before the actual studio version comes out. And then when the song came out, I was at work and I was like, oh, maybe I should just listen to a little bit of it. I was like, no, I gotta wait for you guys. I gotta wait. Oh, it didn't do that intro part that we heard in the live. Trapped in amber, I'm fading pools. The ecstasy was false. Our love is an unlit script no one can memorize. Redacted. What I love here is the effect on his voice. It's got this tape distortion, just a little bit of texture to it, which makes it just sound not quite as clean as a lot of their recent stuff has, which has been one of my criticisms, is that his voice sounds a little bit too, I guess, compressed, clean, overproduced. But here it sounds distorted. It's a little more leaning into that Bring Me the Horizon fuzz, which is kind of what you hear in that drop, is something that sounds a little more distorted and Kingslayer and glitchy almost, at least in the live version. But let's see what we get here. Love that chord change at the end. Love the melody. Let's do it. Oh, the tone! Nice drums. Oh! Ooh! I gotta pause it. Sorry, guys. I'll go back and I'll do the chorus again. I know that everyone's really excited for the chorus, but I gotta comment on that. What I loved so much about that build-up was, first of all, it had those little moments where it flips up octaves, when he's using that pedal during solos in Newborn back in the day. So you get some of those old Muse flares in there, mixed in with that super dirty tone. It's exactly what I wanted it to sound like, even better than I hoped it would. Okay, so we'll go back a little bit so we can get that chorus fresh. Ooh. Oh my god. I feel like I'm levitating right now. I feel like I levitate when and that's the exact feeling I get when I listen to Fury and the chorus from Fury. I feel the exact same way when I listen to this chorus. It's one of the best choruses in Muse history, 100%. Now, originally when I reacted to the live version, I wasn't a huge fan of that like unraveling sound, and I still am like mixed on it, we'll say, but I do like it more when there's at least like a pitch change in the voice, so it doesn't just sound like him just singing it over and over again in the same way. There's so many times I really, really, really love a Muse song, but for some reason I know like if I showed this to other people, it's not going to be something that floats their boat. I feel like this is a song that I could actively like show pretty much anybody, and just they would probably think it was pretty sick. And the last thing I'll say before I continue again is, as Muse has done these kind of like more, let's say, clean, a little bit more mainstream type of projects like Simulation Theory or Will of the People, you've actually noticed that their like streams have dropped considerably, and my video views dropped considerably from, you know, originally doing Simulation Theory to Will of the People. There was very little interest in Will of the People content from you guys, from everybody. Like the views were just not there. What I think is going to happen is that the more unique and interesting and dynamic and expressive and magnetic and catchy the Muse songs are, the more popular they're actually going to be, despite the fact that they're in a genre that is considerably less popular than something like Compliance. Like Compliance was designed to be kind of appealing to more people, but it just didn't hit with general audiences much at all. So I'm hoping that this just goes crazy, and I'm hoping it will, and I think it will. You left me in the dark. A little bass go there. That tone is just unbelievable. Oh. I will say one thing too is that when I was on the bus listening to the live version a couple of times, like I actually was getting like emotional because it was just so almost nostalgic, so exciting, and just such a powerful and emotional chorus. It just gets me every time I listen to it. Just even that time I was just like, ooh, that was hitting me deep. This is the part I'm most excited for. Oh! Let's fucking go! Yes! Oh, the bass there. Oh! Oh my god, dude. It's got everything. Okay, first thing I want to say real quick, what I love so much about this song is that it covers like almost all these different like eras of Muse in like one song. You have that synthy kind of produced section in the verses. You have the magnetic crazy choruses from that middle of their career like Black Holes and Resistance, and then you get the crazy heavy sections which kind of remind you of that Hullabaloo, Origin of Symmetry kind of sound or Dead Star. Something else too is that what I noticed is that in a couple little pictures of the imagery, not obviously that single image, which is like that cyberpunk looking artwork, but in some of the pictures from their like promotions, it almost gives that same nostalgic feeling from something like Hullabaloo, where it's just those outlines and shadows, or maybe something like Absolution, where you get the shadows of all the people up in the sky. And I think that's such a good sign for us because it means that there's, you know, a possibility that they're really leaning into that old sound. I think we get that here on this one, but we also get something new. We get something even heavier than what they've done before. So I don't know. I couldn't be happier with that. There's two really minor complaints. One is that I really hope we get a more raw verse that is a little less overproduced. You know, like for example, in We Are Effing Effed, the verses of that song kind of give that really old classic Muse sound. I really hope we get a couple of songs on this album that are a little more raw. Even Dream Come True would be something like Recess, just something super weird and really cool and raw, not with all these synths and not being super clean with like synthetic drums. And then I don't fully buy into the unraveling sound, but I don't hate it anymore. I didn't like it at all when I first heard it, and now I'm just kind of like neutral on it. I'm like, all right, it's part of the song. Outside of that, this, ooh, I might have to do like after this album, do like an updated like top 10 Muse songs or something, because I'm thinking that this one is leaning towards that top 10 right now. But obviously there's a little bit of recency bias there. So happy though. All things considered, let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I am so hyped for this album. I don't know when it's coming out. Again, I've been avoiding all of their marketing stuff because I've been trying my best not to ever get spoiled on anything, first of all, but I was also just a little bit taking a break from Muse. But it seems like you're all back too because you all found me again. And yeah, just so happy that you're here and so grateful for any of you who click on the video, who share it, who like, who leave a comment, and who just enjoy their time here. So thank you again for being a part of this journey with me. I started the channel back in like 2018 or so, and we're 7 years later. We're still reacting to Muse songs. So just happy to be here and happy that you guys are with me. So I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.